organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, kidnapper pleads. The Iowa City man who took a woman captive during an apartment showing puts in his plea.
And stiff by a settlement, Iowa City recently received a payout from a company that contaminated water, but hear why it may not have been nearly enough.
And in sports, ready to get caught up on everything black and gold? We've got you covered.
That's all coming your way next.
Daily Iowan TV starts now.
I'm Tom Brokaw. For more than 100 years now, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa. And now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV and get it anytime worldwide at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for tuning in to your Monday edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm Ian Martin.
And I'm Stephen Duran. A former University of Iowa student has pleaded guilty to lesser charges in a case of a 2012 apartment assault. 22-year-old Peng Tang was originally charged with first-degree kidnapping when he assaulted a woman who was showing her apartment for a sublease. Tang was later charged with tampering with a witness when he sent a letter from Johnson County Jail to a friend. He asked the friend to find the victim and persuade her to drop the charge. But Tang pleaded guilty on Monday to third-degree sexual abuse, extortion, and soliciting. Tang entered an Alford plea, meaning believed he could be convicted of the crime. With his guilty pleas, Tang now faces up to 17 years in prison.
The Iowa Department of Education sent a second warning to the Iowa City School District about its newly approved diversity policy because the state deems it illegal. The policy passed in a school board vote last week, and it would equalize the number of students in the free and reduced-priced lunch programs among the district schools. The move is intended to create socioeconomic diversity. The state views the potential practice as illegal because it could identify students in the lunch program. Student information cannot be disclosed without parental consent under federal law. The Iowa City School District now has 4 weeks to demonstrate to the state how it will implement the program legally.
Last month, Syngenta, a world leader in agriculture business, allocated $105 million to 70 communities in Iowa. Iowa City was one community, but it only received about $141,000 in its settlement. Daily Iowan TV checks out how the cash will be used.
The Iowa City Water Division was notified by Syngenta Settlement Administrator of a settlement of the Greenville v. Syngenta Crop Protection Class Action lawsuit concerning the presence of atrazine in Iowa City drinking water.
Atrazine is listed in our permit. It is regulated under the Safe Drinking Water Act. It has a limit of 3 parts per billion in the water, in the drinking water. My understanding are that if you drink excessive amounts of atrazine at a much higher level than that there's a possibility of cardiovascular and or reproductive problems.
Despite a $105 million deficit, the company, who released its annual results last week, saw a 7% spike in sales and a net income of $1.9 billion.
Currently, we have in our treatment process, and this has been in place since we've come into the new plant in 2003, a process called granular activated carbon filtration, and it is geared to remove contaminants such as atrazine.
On January 15, 2013, a check was received from the Syngenta Settlement Administrator for just under $141,000.
In essence, this $140,000 is approximately 2 filters worth of maintenance for this type of contaminant. There's others that it removes and that it treats, but this is, atrazine is completely removed by this process.
Shyla Knott, DITV.
And coming up on Daily Iowan TV, how hundreds of students celebrated the Chinese New Year on Sunday in the IMU.
And in sports, our Monday evening whip around and the debut of the brand new series, The Box Score.
First, our own Megan Tickner is in the Daily Iowan TV studio. And Megan, it was windy today, but what can we expect for tomorrow?
Well, I don't know about wind, but Tuesday will likely be as gray as Monday was. Expect a full day of partially cloudy skies with a morning temperature of 27 degrees before the afternoon temperature will rise to near 40. Clear skies Tuesday night and 32 degrees. Taking a look at the extended forecast, the high for the week will be on Wednesday, which should get up to 46. Back into the high 30s on Thursday and nightly temps below 20 basically the rest of the week. Friday through Sunday, highs around or just below freezing, and as you can see, it'll be partially cloudy skies for as long as we can see. That's a look at tomorrow's forecast and weather for the week. Back to you, Ian and Stefan.
Thanks, Megan. Sunday at the Iowa Memorial Union, over 400 students gathered to celebrate the Chinese Spring Festival. The festival celebrates the Chinese New Year, the most important holiday in Chinese culture. The Chinese Student Association prepared for 2 weeks to stage the event, and performers were expected to prepare on their own. The UI's Dean of International Programs thought the turnout from both Chinese and non-Chinese students expressed a positive future between Iowa and China.
I think it's going to be a great turnout. I saw that there's some students preparing their acts, their show. There'll be some dancing, some singing, some music. So it's a great time to celebrate.
On Tuesday, Dean Thomas will travel to Des Moines to visit Governor Terry Branstad. The governor will welcome a group of representatives from the province in China to celebrate a 30-year sister state relationship between Iowa and the Hebei province.
But before he can play host, Governor Branstad had some politics on education reform to push on Monday. Speaking at a news conference, the Republican said his goal is for Iowa to be top 10 state in both standardized reading and math scores by the year 2019. This goal is announced as Branstad is pushing for a nearly $200 million education reform plan. In particular, Branstad is looking at 8th grade math and 4th grade reading ability. 20 years ago, Iowa was in the top 5 nationally in those categories, while the Hawkeye State was in the bottom half nationally in 2011. The governor believes test scores will improve with financial incentives to senior teachers and a raise in minimum teacher salaries. Now let's take a look at what's happening outside of Iowa. Pope Benedict XVI announced Monday that he would resign on February 28th. The 85-year-old announced his decision in Latin during a meeting of Vatican cardinals Monday morning. Pope Benedict told the cardinals, quote, "After having repeatedly examined my conscience before God, I have come to the certainty that my strengths due to the advanced age are no longer suited to an adequate exercise of the patrine ministry," end quote. Pope Benedict XVI is the first pontiff to resign in nearly 600 years. The last pope to resign was Pope Gregory XII, who stepped down in 1415. The Vatican hopes to elect a new pope before the end of March.
The parents of a Chicago teenager slain just days after performing at President Obama's inauguration will attend the State of the Union address speech, according to White House officials. 15-year-old Hajia Pendleton, pictured here, was shot on January 29th in a park close to Obama's Chicago home. First Lady Michelle Obama attended Pendleton's funeral, and her parents will sit in on Tuesday's speech, which is expected to touch on gun violence.
Guests at one New Jersey casino won't even have to get out of bed to place a bet. The Borgata Hotel Casino and Spa in Atlantic City said they will become the first casino in the U.S. to let guests gamble over hotel room TV sets. Its e-casino program will allow guests to set up electronic accounts and risk up to $2,500 per day. Slots and 4 kinds of video poker will be the first games offered. This technology is currently used on large cruise ships and will be available in all Borgata rooms.
And now for a look at everything black and gold, Annie Costabile is back in the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio. Annie?
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio. Busy weekend for the Hawks on all playing fields. And while we touched on the hardwood last night, we'll be heading around Iowa athletics tonight to get you caught up on everything black and gold. And what better way to start than with our reporters in the field in our Monday evening edition of Whip Around. Our own Alicia Denez starts things off. Alicia?
Hello and welcome to our Monday edition of Whip Around. I'm at Pink Vine Golf Course, the home of the Iowa men's golf team. They weren't here this weekend though. They were all the way in Bradenton, Florida for the Big Ten Match Play Championships. They finished with a 3rd place finish after defeating Ohio State. This is the best they've done since 2010, getting a 3rd place finish also that year. This weekend they're going to be in Arizona for Big Ten 4 championships, hosting in-state
I'm back here poolside where the Hawkeyes held their final dual meet of the season against Western Illinois. It was a successful farewell for the seniors as both the men and women came out on top. The women won every single event, whereas the men won 11 of the 12. The women will be back in the water in Minnesota February 20th for the Big Ten Championship meet. The men will begin their postseason action the following week in Bloomington, Indiana. That's all for Whip Around. Back to you, Annie, in the studio.
Big weekends for a number of teams, and up and down week for some individuals in competition. We like to think of ourselves as a glass half full kind of bunch, so we'll start some personal bests on the track from over the weekend. Ethan Holmes shattered a personal best in the men's 200 meters, running a blistering 21:49, while his teammate Caleb Van Cleve did the same, clocking in at 22:30 at the University of Arkansas Saturday afternoon. Not quite the weekend defending champion and #1 ranked wrestler Matt McDonough envisioned as he fell to Jesse Delgado at Champaign at 125 pounds. The Hawks did rebound with a standout grapplers Tony Ramos and Bobby Telford recording pins to defeat #8 Illinois. That, of course, taking place this past Saturday night. As you can imagine, McDonough would respond yesterday. As you can see here, Tom Brand's crew clinched its 5th dual title in the last 6 years with a dominating 31-6 performance over the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. Nick Moore and Tony Ramos both recorded pins in this one, leading the black and gold to an unblemished dual season with an 18-1 overall record on the year. We've talked about it, tossed around the idea, and today we're debuting our newest segment, the box score. Over the next few weeks, we'll be going inside the numbers to give you perspective on Hawkeye hoops. And since we've neglected the hardwood for most of the day, we'll throw it to Daily Iowan TV sports reporter Josh Bolander to kick things off. Josh?
For Hawkeye fans who want Devin Marble to score more, you're probably right. That hasn't always been the case, though. Last season, the Hawks were 2-5 in games Marble posted 15 or more. This year, 6-1. High-flying hoops are aiding the Hawks in field goal percentage, and the results are showing. In games the Hawks shoot 40% or better, they're 14-3. And if Josh Oglesby can finally catch fire from beyond the arc, this team could be dangerous come Big Ten tournament time. And in case you haven't heard, Carver Hawkeye Arena is back. Iowa improved to 12-2 at home this season with Sunday's victory over Northwestern. For the box score, Josh Bolander, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
Well, that's going to do it for us here in the Daily Iowan TV Sports studio. A whole lot coming up tomorrow, including highlights of the Lady Hawks game in Iowa City tonight versus Nebraska. I'm going to throw it back to you guys at the desk now.
Thanks so much, Annie, and only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek at Tuesday's edition of the Daily Iowan. Read what local officials have to say about the Postal Service eliminating its Saturday delivery.
And read why the UI was ranked highly for its Peace Corps involvement. Well, that's your latest edition of Daily Iowan TV. Be sure to check us out tomorrow or anytime online at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great night.